Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Tausif, and I am back with a new live stream. It seems like it's been a while since I have done a live stream. Now, those who have been following my channel for weeks and months, you know that I do a lot of live streams on this channel, okay? In fact, for a very long time, I did live streams almost every day, and some of those live streams were more than 3 hours long. And so the last couple of weeks have been tremendously busy with so many other things going on in life. And so I didn't find the time to be able to do live stream, but I'm here now, and I see Frank is here and Mickey is here. Hello, Frank. Good to. I was chatting with Frank. You can see that, so I know Frank's here, and then Mickey just joined. Rachel is here. Hi, Rachel. Good to see you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for watching my podcast episodes, the video versions, and other videos that I posted on this channel. Even as I skipped doing live streams because of so many other things, as I mentioned, going on in life, I was not able to do live streams, but I did publish videos on my channel. So thank you for watching those videos and for commenting on those and for liking those videos. I appreciate that. So my friends, let's get into the discussion here. And at the very beginning, I just want to say, and I'm sure that many of you will agree with me. If you do, please let me know in the live chat. President Donald J. Trump, the 47th president of the United States of America, as well as the 45th president, of course, 45th and 47th president, he is restoring peace and stability around the world. Donald J. Trump is restoring peace and stability around the world. The path towards peace and stability, requires bold action. And the path is not an easy one. There's a lot of resistance, my friends. Whenever you try to achieve peace and stability, there will be many forces opposing you. And that's what we are seeing right now. President Donald J. Trump is trying to do great things, but there are opposing forces. Let's look at the U.S. Canada relationship. Edwin, good to see you. Richard Miller, thank you for joining. Everyone, thank you for being here. Misty, so good to see you. Misty, wonderful to see you. James is here. Hello, James. Thank you for being here. So let's look at the U.S.-Canada relationship. There are people out there who think that Donald Trump is being aggressive in the U.S.-Canada relationship. Okay, there are people out there, you know, I'm sure you've heard those opinions, people who think that Trump is being too aggressive. But here's the reality. Donald J. Trump is treating Canada with kindness. Donald J. Trump is treating Canada with a lot of kindness by providing a wonderful opportunity to Canada for a stronger future. A future with more freedom. Trump has been very clear that he would like to see Canada as the 51st American state. President Trump is showing the people of Canada the image of a bigger, brighter, and bolder future if they become a part of the United States of America. Canada is going to have a much brighter future. It's going to be a glorious future if they become a part of the United States of America. Just think about how powerful Canada would become if it becomes a part of the United States of America. It's going to lead to a better economic future for Canada. It will lead to a better military and defense structure for Canada. And there will be better quality of life for the people of Canada in general. And that is the reality. That is the reality. And so people will have to think about this in a very, very practical manner. Okay? You know, we see the instant reactions and we see the emotions, but it is very, very important to look at the long-term picture. Look at 10, 20, 30, 50 years down the road and think about the long term, think about the future. The world is changing, my friends. We know that. World is changing. And technology is evolving. And some countries are losing power and other countries are gaining more power. New natural resources are being discovered and extracted and put into use. And there's constant transformation. We are seeing transformation everywhere in the way people think, in the way people process information. We are seeing transformation in the way people do business. We are seeing transformation in the way countries interact. So many, I mean, everything's changing. Everything's changing. Okay, we're going through transformation. So whenever the topic of U.S.-Canada relationship comes up, in particular on the Canadian side, we see a lot of emotions, a lot of reactions. But it is important to think about the long term, what is future going to look like 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, 50 years down the road. Think about the children and the grandchildren and their future. Think about the long term. It is important to understand the geopolitical dynamic, not just in terms of what we are seeing right now, but what we might see in the future. Canada has lots and lots of challenges, rising challenges that Canada is facing. My friends, I think you understand that. On this channel, I know that all the friends who tune in, you pay attention, you observe the world around yourself. You pay attention to what's going on in your city, in your county, in your state. And you try to stay informed. And I know that because when we have these conversations during the live streams and even beyond the live streams, when I read some of your comments on my different videos and the questions that you ask, I know that we are a very informed group. We are always seeking new information. We are always trying to gather facts. We are always trying to analyze the evidence. We're trying to pursue the truth. And we're trying to promote truth and accuracy. On this channel, that's my goal. When I do these live streams, when I do the videos, it is always my goal to share the truth, to share the facts. And the truth is that Canada has rising challenges. As a country by itself, Canada is in a very, very difficult spot right now. Do you agree with me, my friends? Let me know. Let me know. You know, what are some of the problems that Canadians are facing right now? Do you want to list a few problems that you think Canadians are facing? The list is very, very long. It's a long list. Canada has lots of challenges. Housing crisis. Let's just talk about that. Housing crisis. Canada has a housing crisis. Cost of living has gone up significantly. Cost of living has increased significantly. Government spending has increased in Canada significantly. The government got bigger and bigger and bigger in Canada. You know, for a country to be successful in the long term, you have to have small government, limited government. The smaller the government footprint, the smaller the bureaucratic presence, the better it is for the free market and the better it is for a country's future. And so Canada has a housing crisis. Canadians have seen cost of living increase significantly. Government spending has also increased in Canada, as I said, significantly. The federal workforce of Canada has grown a lot. And the Canadian healthcare system, what can I tell you about the Canadian healthcare system? The Canadian healthcare system is not the kind of healthcare system that a person would desire. It's not. It's not. I know there are different opinions out there, but let me tell you, the Canadian healthcare system is not desirable. Yes, each and every healthcare system, whenever you look at, just pick any country, and you look at their healthcare system, you'll see some great things, you'll see some good things, you'll see some bad things, and some really bad things. Okay, it's always going to be a mix. Okay, no healthcare system is perfect. There's not a single healthcare system that you can look at and say, oh, this is it, this is perfect, this is what we want, this is what we should have worldwide. No, there will be some great things, some good things, some average things, some bad things in every healthcare system. Right here in the United States, we have many challenges in our healthcare system. I know that. I'm a healthcare policy analyst by training. That's what I studied, healthcare policy, in graduate school. I studied public policy focusing on healthcare policy. So I understand the deficiencies that we have, the limitations that we have, the problems, the challenges, the crises that we have in the U.S. healthcare system. But it is one that we are trying to improve. We're trying to improve. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no magical solution. You can't flip a switch and fix everything. But we are trying to improve, make incremental changes and improve the U.S. healthcare system. But if someone says, oh, we should have the healthcare system that they have in Canada, why don't we import that healthcare system and have something like that in the U.S.? No, that is going to be absolutely not desirable. The Canadian healthcare system, when you hear about how long people have to wait for procedures, the waiting time, and I mean, it's just no way. No way. We don't want that. We do not, okay? Let me just state things very, very clearly so everyone can understand, everyone can hear. We the Americans, we do not want a healthcare system like the one they have in Canada. I'm sure there are some great things, But overall, no, that's not a system we want. So Canada has many challenges: housing, cost of living, high government spending, a bloated federal workforce, and also their healthcare system is very, very problematic. So Canada has significant challenges that the country is facing internally. Canada is facing many, many problems. And then even when you look at international relations, Canada has lots and lots of issues. And I'm not going to go, go ahead and discuss the entire list, because that's going to take up a lot of time, because I have other things I want to focus on. But I mean, just look at the Canada-India relationship. The Canada-India relationship. It's not in the best shape, not at all. Canada has a very, very tense relationship with India right now, okay? And the reason I bring up India is because there are so many Indian nationals in Canada, lots and lots of Indian nationals in Canada who live there, who study there, they work there. And then also there are many Canadians of Indian origin. Okay, so maybe their ancestors are from India, or maybe they're second generation Canadian, Canadian citizens with Indian roots. So that's why I bring up Canada, because there's a significant presence of people of Indian origin or Indian nationals in Canada. And now Canada has a very, very tense relationship, very, very tense relationship with India. And, there are other challenges that Canada is facing in terms of international relations. Okay, so not a great relationship with India right now. So Canada clearly needs help. Canada is in crisis. And you look at the last several years with Justin Trudeau in power, he could have solved a lot of the problems. Justin Trudeau could have solved a lot of the problems, but because Justin Trudeau, as a prime minister, he was a failure, not competent. Okay? Share with me your thoughts, my friends. Not competent at all, Justin Trudeau. Which is why his lack of expertise, his lack of political wisdom, his lack of knowledge on how to govern a country, that resulted in a lot of the problems that Canada is facing today. With Justin Trudeau in power, problems were not solved, but a lot of new problems started. So in short, you can say Justin Trudeau failed as a prime minister. Justin Trudeau failed as a prime minister. And Mark Carney, shall we talk about Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada now? Mark Carney, he has also not shown signs of wisdom yet. I'm paying attention to Mark Carney. I'm listening to his words. I'm reading the statements that he makes. I'm trying to listen to the answers that he provides when he's in front of TV cameras and microphones, and when reporters, journalists are asking Mark Carney questions. I pay attention. I want to hear what Mark Carney has to say, how he responds. I even pay attention to his facial expression, the tone of his voice. You got to study his face, his expression. in addition to listening to his answers. And everything, the way he answers, the speed at which he delivers his words, the tone of his voice, everything. Because you're going to have to try to understand what's going on in Mark Carney's mind. The new prime minister, what is he thinking? How is he going to govern? So far, it seems to me that he has not shown signs of wisdom. Not yet. So, my friends, the question is, what's going to happen going forward? President Trump proposed that Canada could become the 51st American state. Canada could become a part of the United States. So, given all the challenges that Canada is facing right now, given all the challenges that Canada has been facing for years, and given the trajectory, which tells you that Canada is not heading in the right direction, Canada is not heading towards solutions. So, what is the path forward? I think the people of Canada must look at President Donald Trump's proposal quite seriously. And I hope they do. I hope they think about this proposal of becoming a part of the U.S. I hope they think about it very, very seriously. And I know that there are Canadians, wise Canadians, intelligent Canadians who are paying attention. Now, I've always said Canada is our friend. I've said that. The people of Canada, the people of the U.S., we are friends. And there are many Canadians who tune in for these live streams. We know we got Canadian friends in this freedom-loving community that we have online. We got Canadian friends, and some of them may be listening. So it's important to understand that we, the American people, and the Canadian people, we are friends. We have been friends for a long time. We are friends, and we will remain friends, hopefully. Right? American people and Canadian people. But the matter in front of the Canadians right now is, which road would they choose? Just the Canadians have arrived at a point where they have to make a choice. Do they take the road that is the status quo, just continue as you are? Or are you going to choose to become a part of the United States of America? A very, very important decision that the Canadians will have to make. One path leads towards problems, economic challenges. One path leads towards an uncertain future. If they stay as they are, the Canadian people suffered tremendously with Justin Trudeau in power. And now they got Mark Carney. And the election's coming up, right? So who knows what's going to happen? Who's going to win? I don't know. I'm not going to predict. But the way things stand right now with Mark Carney as the PM, things are not good. If the Canadians want to maintain the status quo, if they're happy with the trajectory of the country right now, it's going to lead to more and more problems in the future. But then on the other hand, there's this amazing golden opportunity. Listen to what President Trump had to say. Listen to his proposal. Think about the offer that he made. Try to process this vision of a better, brighter, stronger future for Canada if Canada becomes a part of the United States. Which road will the Canadians choose? Which road will the Canadians choose? It is such a critical juncture. The decision made now will affect generations to come. Generations. My friends, share with me your thoughts. I just want to pause because I want to acknowledge so many friends who have joined. Bob is here. Hello, Bob. Michelle is here from Northwest Florida. Michelle, good to see you. Teresa Ross is here. Hi, Teresa. So good to see you. Who else is here? Fuzz is here. Fuzz is Aaron. Aaron, good to see you. Aaron, you're from Canada, right, Aaron? Aaron's from Canada. Aaron usually doesn't agree with my viewpoints, but I hope that Aaron will understand and accept this vision of a brighter, stronger future for Canada. Aaron goes by the name Fuzz. I hope Aaron understands that the future will be bright for Canada if Canada becomes a part of the US. That's my viewpoint. And Aaron, I hope you would agree. Alec is here. Alec is new? Oh, Alec from Ohio. Alec, welcome. Thank you for being here. Victoria is joining from New Zealand. Wonderful. New Zealand is a strong ally of the US. Victoria, thank you for being here, Victoria. Who did I miss? Selena is here. Hi, Selena. So good to see you. AC Cruz, our friend. AC Cruz from Arizona. We got Teresa Ross from Arizona. We got AC Cruz from Arizona. Thank you all for being here. Gina is here. Hi, Gina. So good to see you. Josh is here. Jet is here. Jet from Pennsylvania. Great. Wonderful, Jet. Good to see you. And who did I miss? If I missed anyone, I apologize. But thank you all. Thank you all. Rini is here. Hi, Rini. Next is here. Next. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Thank you for joining this conversation. My friends, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Okay. Please subscribe and be a part of this community of freedom-loving people. Be a part of this family. A family that believes in the truth. A family that listens to the facts. A family that wants to protect freedom. My friends, please subscribe. Subscribe. Support this channel. Support this channel, my friends. So I know that there are Canadians who would like to see Canada become a part of the United States. There are Canadians, if you are a Canadian watching this live stream and you would like to see Canada become a part of the United States, get in touch with our community. Let us know your thoughts, your viewpoints. Dee is here from California. Dee, so good to see you. Jack is here. Hello, Jack. Hello, Jack. Misty is saying the Canadians will have more money in their pockets. That is a wonderful statement, Misty, and that is the truth. That is the truth, because our economy, the U.S. economy, is heading towards prosperity. Unbelievable prosperity, unbelievable growth. It's, you know, repairing the damage done by the Biden administration takes time, but we are heading in the right direction. Donald J. Trump is taking our economy towards prosperity, and anyone who's part of the United States will prosper. And if Canada becomes a part of the US, Canada will prosper. Canadians will see more money in their pockets. More money in their pockets. Canadians will see that if they become a part of the US. Charisse is here. Hi, Charisse. So good to see you. People, those who are wondering, Tossif, where have you been? Well, I've been so busy. So busy. Lots going on in life. So I couldn't find time to do live stream. So thank you all for being here. Claudia Greenwood, so good to see you, Claudia. Good to see you, Claudia. All right. Thank you all. Claudia from North Carolina. Am I correct, Claudia? From North Carolina. All right. Okay. So there are Canadians who are listening to what President Trump is saying. And they're not listening just to react and overreact. There are Canadians who are listening to what President Trump is saying about the possibility of Canada becoming the 51st American state. And they are paying attention. They're not looking at the present, they're looking at the future. There are Canadians who are looking at the future and they are strongly considering this proposal by President Trump about Canada becoming the 51st American state. And those Canadians, they are in agreement. They would love to see Canada become a part of the US. Once again, because they are thinking about the long term. They are seeing that America is an unstoppable force. There are Canadians who recognize the power of the American economy. They recognize the power of the American military. They understand that for the United States, the future is glorious. They can see how President Donald J. Trump is making America great again, safe again, wealthy again, healthy again, strong again. And so there are Canadians who want to be a part of this prosperity. There are Canadians who would want to be who want to be a part of this movement towards a glorious future. And they're seeing, hey, America is unstoppable. And becoming a part of America will allow access to the same opportunities that the Americans now have. The same opportunity towards a brighter future. And so there are Canadians who support the idea of Canada becoming a part of the US because they want more prosperity, more success, more opportunities, and that's important. Now, there are those who are reacting because they think, oh, Trump wants to take control of Canada. No, that is not the truth. Because, you hear those voices out there. They're on TV, they're on the internet. They're saying, oh, Trump wants to take control of Canada. No, no, no. The truth is that Trump is providing a great opportunity to the Canadian people, to the wonderful Canadian people. President Trump is providing an opportunity for the Canadians to become a part of the most prosperous country in the world. Do you agree with me, my friends? If you do, please say agree. If you agree with my views, my thoughts, my opinions, and don't forget to like this video, my friends. You gotta like this video. Like and subscribe, my friends. Support this channel. If you believe in the truth, if you want to pursue the truth, if you want to spread the truth, if you believe in facts and accurate information, support this channel, my friends. Be a part of this community. Edwin, good to see you, Edwin. Thank you all. I see there are voices who are saying, agree. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Thank you. My friends, right now, Canada has a leader who is not taking the right steps. Right now, Canada has a prime minister who is not looking at the long-term picture. Right now, Canada has a prime minister, Mark Carney, who is failing to think about the long term. But you look at the United States of America, we have a leader, Donald J. Trump, who is fighting for the American people. Donald Trump is prioritizing America, and he's doing the best that he can to make America great again. Whether you think of national defense, border security, international trade, whatever you look at, you will see Donald J. Trump taking our country in the right direction. I mean, just look at President Trump's cabinet. He's got some of the finest people in his cabinet. This is, I would say, listen, Donald Trump's cabinet is the best cabinet. Donald Trump's cabinet is the best cabinet. They are doing great work. Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security, doing great work. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, doing great work. Linda McMahon, doing great work. Education Secretary. And I'm so glad that President Trump is shutting down, he's taking steps to shut down this education department. Linda McMahon, wonderful person to help President Trump accomplish that. Linda McMahon, she's going to do great. Pete Hegseth, wonderful. A true patriot. A true patriot. Pete Hegseth, in charge of the Department of Defense. I was so happy when President Trump nominated Pete Hegseth to be the Secretary of Defense. He's doing great. And then you look at the other members in his cabinet. Everyone's doing so great. So great. You look at the Secretary of Treasury. You look at the EPA administrator. Truly, my friends, if you support President Trump's cabinet, just say, I love Trump cabinet. Just say, I love Trump cabinet. I'm going to drink my tea and wait for your comments. And so, on one hand, you see Canada having poor leadership in government. And then you look at the United States, an amazing president, an amazing cabinet, national defense, border security, international trade, everything. We are heading in the right direction because Donald Trump is taking us in the right direction. For example, look at what President Trump announced recently. Actually, earlier today, President Trump announced auto tariffs. Auto tariffs. Okay, I see a lot of people saying, I love Trump's cabinet. Patrick is saying, I love Trump's cabinet. Mr. Wonderful is saying, I love Trump's cabinet. Jude is saying, ITC, meaning I love Trump's cabinet, right? That's the short form. Edwin is saying, I love Trump's cabinet. Alec is saying, I love Trump's cabinet. Dana is here. Hi, Dana. So good to see you. Dana from Oregon joined. Dana, so wonderful to see you. So good to see you, Dana. Who else is here? Did I miss anyone? Any friend who joined? Mm. All right. Okay. Wonderful. All right, my friends, please make sure that you are subscribing if you have not done so already. And please hit the like button, okay? Hit the like button, my friends. So good to be doing a live stream. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. I'm just so happy to be back. So happy to be back. So please show some support for the channel. I would appreciate that very, very much. Okay. So auto tariffs. Let's talk about auto tariffs. Interesting discussion this one's going to be. I'm sure that many of you have already heard the announcement. President Trump announced that he is placing 25% tariffs on auto imports. And this is not a temporary measure, in case somebody out there is wondering, hey, Tassif, 25% tariffs on auto imports. For how long? Is it for a month? Is it for 2 months, 6 months, 2 years? How long is it for? Well, it is not temporary. It is permanent. President Trump said it is permanent. Okay, Dana is asking, did I get a haircut? It looks fat. Dana, yes, I did get a haircut. It's been several days, and so initially it was too short. Now it's growing, and you can see my parting change. So my hair used to be parted here, and now I've taken it in the other direction. So thanks for noticing that. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. All right, thank you, Dana. So, not a temporary measure, it is permanent. 25% tariffs on auto imports. Now, my friends, I printed this out on the website of the White House. You are going to find a fact sheet, and the fact sheet was published on March 26th of 2025. So it's still today here in the Central Time Zone. It's still March 26th, 2025. The fact sheet is titled, President Donald J. Trump adjusts import of automobiles and automobile parts into the United States. And it says right here, in the fact sheet, it says, President Donald J. Trump signed a proclamation invoking Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 to impose a 25% tariff on imports of automobiles and certain automobile parts, addressing a critical threat to U.S. national security. It also says, President Trump is taking action to protect America's automobile industry, which is vital to national security and has been undermined by excessive imports threatening America's domestic industrial base and supply chains. And I'm going to read more. It says, the 25% tariff will be applied to imported passenger vehicles meaning sedans, SUVs, crossovers, minivans, cargo vans, passenger vehicles and light trucks, as well as key automobile parts, so engines, transmissions, powertrain parts, and electrical components, with processes to expand tariffs on additional parts if necessary. Major decision. Major decision, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, which is why I have asked a question In the live chat, you can see there's a poll question. And the question is, do you support President Trump's decision to announce 25% tariffs on automobile parts? So you let me know your thoughts, my friends. And so far, I can see that more than 60% of the respondents have said that yes, they support President Trump's decision to announce 25% tariffs on automobile parts. Major decision by President Trump, major decision by the Trump administration, major step. It is going to have tremendous impact. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, okay? So please let me know, all right? Okay. All right, share with me your thoughts. And this is you know, I want to tell you, I don't want to read the entire fact sheet because then it's going to take a lot of time. And also because I know you can go and read the fact sheet on the White House website. So do that. It is titled, President Donald J. Trump adjusts imports of automobiles and automobile parts into the United States. That's the title. And you can read the whole document. Okay. Marjorie is here. Marjorie, so good to see you. Marjorie, wonderful to see you. Marjorie is from Canada. Marjorie is our friend joining from Canada. So Marjorie, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here and for being a part of this this community. Okay. So go and check out that document on the White House website. You can read more, but here's what I understand after reading that document. The key goals of President Trump's decision are the following. Number one, to prioritize U.S. national security, and then to maintain a strong domestic industrial base, and then to strengthen America's manufacturing sector. I mean, these are things that we can all agree on. I mean, it doesn't matter if you are a Republican or a Democrat or an independent, or you're still trying to figure out where you fall politically. Doesn't matter. I mean, if you are an American, if you are a freedom-loving American, you are going to be in agreement with these goals. Number one, prioritize U.S. national security. Who can disagree with that? If you live in the United States, if you love your freedom, if you want to live in a free society, if you want to live in a secure country, yes, you want to see U.S. national security prioritized. And that is exactly what President Trump is doing. Go read the fact sheet, my friends. The goal of President Trump's action is to prioritize U.S. national security, something that I think we all can agree on. And then to maintain a strong domestic industrial base. Now, if you are an American, if you live in America, do you want to see a strong domestic industrial base? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because that's the rational choice. That's the sensible choice. That's the common sense decision. Yes, we as Americans, we as freedom-loving people, we want a strong U.S. domestic industrial base. And that is what President Trump is trying to accomplish. He wants to maintain a strong domestic industrial base. And then the other goal is to strengthen America's manufacturing sector. Now, don't you want vehicles to be produced in the United States? Don't you want to see companies employing American workers to produce vehicles and vehicle parts? Absolutely. And when America is strong, when the American economy is strong, then our allies and our trading partners also win. When America is strong, other countries also benefit. Like Marjorie just said. Marjorie, what did you say? Marjorie just said, hold on, let me read Marjorie's comment. Marjorie said, everyone needs a strong America. Thank you, Marjorie, for stating the fact. That is the truth. Everyone needs a strong America. We as Americans, we need strong America, but there are other countries who depend on the US, who have strong trade relationships with the US, who have military ties with the US, defense relationship. Because, there are countries around the world, they rely on the United States, they rely on the US military for protection, for defense. And so when the United States is strong, our allies and our partners, they all benefit. They all benefit. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marjorie. I appreciate that. All right, my friends, let's see. Yeah, when America is strong, when American consumers have a lot of money in their pockets, the American consumers want to buy products. And then other countries that make a lot of different products, they are able to sell in the US market to American consumers. Now, if American consumers don't have money in their pockets, there's not going to be demand. And we're not going to order and buy stuff from outside the US. And so when we don't buy stuff from outside the US, other countries, their economy will be in trouble. Now, so what I'm trying to tell you is that when America is strong, as Marjorie said, our partners, our allies, they all benefit. Other countries benefit. Now, trade is important. Trade is needed. We want trade, but we want fair trade. We want the kind of trade relationship that would result in win-win. We don't want a trade relationship where the other country wins and we lose. We don't want a trade relationship in which we're the losers and all the benefits are being enjoyed by the other country that we're trading with. Because international trade, when it is done properly, it can be win-win. Both parties can win. And that is exactly what President Trump is trying to ensure. When he imposes tariffs, when he makes very tough and bold trade decisions, it is really to make the playing field even. Okay? To ensure fairness in international trade. We want fair international trade. We want to win. We want our trading partners to win. And that is exactly what President Trump is trying to ensure. And so I think we all can agree that the goals should be to prioritize U.S. national security, to maintain a strong domestic industrial base, to strengthen America's manufacturing sector. Whatever decision President Trump is making, it is all about putting Americans first, but also ensuring that we have fair trade. Okay. Yeah, Misty just wrote fair trade. Exactly, Misty. Exactly. That's the focus. All right, my friends, give me 1 second here. My friends, please make sure that you are subscribing, okay? I would really appreciate that if you subscribe. I know It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so I guess a lot of you might have thought that, hey, when is Tausif going to do a live stream? Is he going to be back doing a live stream, or did the live streams just stop? No, the live streams do not stop. I just didn't find time to do live stream in the last several days, but now I'm back. Okay. All right. Okay. I see different comments in the live chat. Okay. All right. So this decision of imposing auto tariffs, this is definitely going to have an impact on the Canadian economy. And that impact is not going to be a pleasant one. Let me tell you that. President Trump announced auto tariffs. This will have an adverse impact on the Canadian economy. And President Trump, remember one thing very clearly regarding tariffs. Even before being sworn in as the 47th president, right after he was elected, Trump won the election. But before being sworn in, President Trump made his intentions very clear. He said he's going to be imposing tariffs on Canada, on Mexico, on China, if certain conditions are not met. And President Trump made it very clear that he wants border security. He wants to stop the influx of the dangerous drugs, illegal substances into the U.S. He wants to stop the drug trafficking. He wants to stop the human trafficking. He wants to make sure that our borders are secure. And so, President Trump, he expected cooperation from our neighbors, from Canada and Mexico. He gave sufficient notice to the Canadians and to the Mexicans that tariffs are coming. The tariffs didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, it was not a surprise, because President Trump announced the tariffs, that he's going to impose tariffs, even before he was sworn in as the 47th president. So President Trump was trying to be very, very fair. Very, very fair by giving a lot of notice, by giving a lot of time for the Mexican and the Canadian authorities, their government, to process the information and to take the right steps. Because, you know, I've discussed this so many times on this channel that it's not just the southern border that was facing, you know, that was seeing massive influx, not just the southern border that we share with Mexico, but also the northern border. Illegal immigrants, large number of illegal immigrants were coming in through the northern border from the Canadian side and into the US. And President Trump had to take action, and he basically presented information about what his expectations are: border security, stopping the flow of illegal immigrants and illegal drugs. And also, you know, we know that, which something he has talked about publicly so many times, he wants to ensure that the trade is fair. The trade is not unfair. Okay? So Canada and Mexico both had a lot of time to process it all and to take the right steps. And now President Trump is being compelled. He's compelled to take this step and to impose auto tariffs. It's not a decision. I'm sure that it's not a decision that he arrived at lightly. Imposing tariffs, it's not a light decision. You don't do it casually. there has to be a lot of consideration, a lot of thoughts, lots of analysis that go into this kind of a decision making. So President Trump, I'm sure he sat down with his advisors, his top economic experts, looked at the long-term impacts, and he announced the tariffs. But what's it going to do to the Canadian economy? Canada is a foreign country, and which is why the tariffs apply, right? Tariffs are for other countries, not for domestic. I mean, it's not like, you know, you impose tariff on a state. No, it's you impose tariff on a foreign country. So automobiles made in Canada will come under the tariffs if those cars are brought into the U.S. market. Now, if Canada becomes an American state, then obviously this tariff wouldn't apply. A tariff makes no sense if Canada becomes a U.S. state. Now, I know people will react. Once again, I'll get lots of different comments. I'm just stating the fact. If Canada thinks that they're concerned about the tariffs, well, President Trump said that the tariffs are permanent. The auto tariffs. But if Canada becomes an American state, there won't be any more tariff. Right? Right now, there's a lot of worry in Canada. In fact, here's what I think is happening, and you can let me know if you agree with my assessment. I think the government of Canada is in a panic mode right now. Do you think the government of Canada is in a panic mode? My friends, let me know your thoughts. Let's see. Hold on, my friends. Give me 1 second, my friends. Okay, listen, I'm gonna okay, so I'm going to block an individual. I think you'll know who I'm blocking. You'll see here. Okay, so I blocked this individual named Draconian. Okay. Yeah, all right, yeah. So I went back and looked at some of the comments, really ugly comments posted by that individual. So, you know, disagreements are fine, as I've said a million times previously. You can disagree with me, you can challenge my viewpoints. I welcome that. But name calling, insults, even if you're not insulting me, but you're using extremely rude and nasty language to address any of my friends here, I'm gonna block. Okay, I'm gonna block that individual. I don't do it light. I mean, it's not like I'm just blocking tons of people. No, I don't want to block anyone. Trust me. Okay, I don't want to block anyone. So yeah, but if I'm compelled to block certain individuals because of their behavior, because of their language, the things that they say, the content, all right, of their comments. So right now, I think the government of Canada is in a panic mode. Let me know if you agree with that assessment. The government of Canada right now, they are in a panic mode. And Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, did express some comments. He had certain things, certain thoughts about the announcement of 25% auto tariffs imposed by the U.S. Mark Carney shared his thoughts on it. He called it a direct attack. A direct attack. It's an economic decision that President Trump made because he was elected by the people of the United States. President Trump is in power. He's got authority. Why? Because we, the American people, we elected him for that position, for the highest public office in the U.S. Let's see, hold on. Okay. So Mark Carney called it a direct attack, and he went on to say, and I'm giving you his exact quote. He said, "We will defend our workers, we will defend our companies, we will defend our country." That's a message from Prime Minister Mark Carney after he found out about the 25% tariffs decision. What Mark Carney must understand is that Donald J. Trump is doing what is best for the United States. Yes, as I said, President Trump elected by the people of America. So naturally, he is doing what is best for the United States. But what Mark Carney is doing is not the best decision for Canada. Mark Carney is doing things, saying things that are not in the best interest of Canada. Mark Carney is being very aggressive in his tone. Have you listened to Mark Carney? Have you listened to the things that he says? He's being quite rude in his approach. Mark Carney insulted the U.S., and he's trying to challenge our president. And in fact, if you look at the overall picture, then Mark Carney is the one who is destroying the relationship that we have with Canada. Mark Carney is the one who is destroying the U.S. Canada relationship. What Mark Carney must understand is that he needs to have dialogue. He needs to have a conversation. He needs to have a constructive conversation with President Donald J. Trump. With the kind of attitude that Mark Carney has, the kind of attitude he seems to be displaying right now, a constructive dialogue does not seem to be possible. President Trump is the greatest leader in the world, and so Mark Carney must show a lot of respect. Mark Carney must understand. I understand that he's the Prime Minister of Canada, but when you're talking about Donald Trump, he is the leader of the free world. He's the U.S. president. He's the president of the most powerful country in the world. Donald J. Trump, leader of the free world. So Mark Carney may be powerful in Canada, but Donald J. Trump is powerful, the most powerful in the world when you look at world leaders. So I'm going back to what I was saying, my friends. By the way, 47 likes on this video. Help us get to 50. All right, 3 more likes, we'll get to 50. And make sure that you are liking this video and you're subscribing if you have not done so already. Thank you, my friends. It's good to be back doing a live stream. So if I get a lot of support, that'd be so great. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, let's go back to what I was saying. The auto tariffs. The auto tariffs will be quite problematic for Canada. In fact, here's what I think is going to happen. The auto tariffs are going to be devastating for Canadian businesses. Okay, next is calling me delusional. I'm not delusional. I'm not delusional. Okay. All right. Listen, if you have a comment, rather than saying you're delusional, just say something more constructive. Okay. Tell me, what is it that you disagree with me on? Share your thoughts. All right. Here's what's going on. Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, reportedly he might be planning some retaliatory measures. So Canada wants to retaliate. Canada wants to respond to the announcement of the 25% auto tariffs. Canada wants to respond by retaliating. But here's the thing. Whatever retaliatory measures Canada adopts, Canada cannot defeat the U.S. And I'm saying this because I understand the reality. On this channel right now, we got American viewers, we got Canadian viewers. I'm not saying something because I'm an American and that's what I want to say. I'm stating facts. Doesn't matter if you're an American or a Canadian or a European or Asian. If you are wherever in the world you are from, if you are looking at the facts, if you are looking at the complete picture, then it's very easy to understand that no matter what kind of retaliation Canada does, no matter what kind of retaliatory measures Canada comes up with, Canada cannot defeat the US. It is a fact. And I don't know if it's going to hurt one's feelings out there, but I'm just telling the truth. You look at the world map, you know which countries are powerful, which countries are moderately powerful, which countries are not so powerful, which countries are weak. I mean, we have an understanding. Canada is powerful, but Canada is not more powerful than the US. Whether you look at military, whether you look at trade, whether you look at, whatever, just pick your favorite measure. The US is far more powerful than Canada. It's an obvious fact. And so our economy, the US economy, is much stronger, much bigger, and we have a lot more tolerance in terms of being able to deal with economic ups and downs. So when there are economic ups and downs, yeah, creates problem, but we can deal with it compared to Canada's tolerance. Okay, I see Tasfikur is here. Tasfikur, so good to see you. Who else is here? Stephen is here. Hello, Stephen. Chris is here. Hello, Chris. I think I saw Jim earlier. Jim from Chicago. Thank you all. All right. Let's see. So America can withstand economic ups and downs, but Canada will not be able to deal with the impacts of the tariffs. Canada will not be able to handle all the problems that will arise because of the auto tariffs. Reportedly, automobiles are Canada's second largest export. Automobiles are Canada's second largest export. So think about how many Canadians are employed in the automobile sector. Think about all the other businesses in Canada that are connected to the automobile industry. So try to understand the impacts of these tariffs on the Canadian economy. It will be impossible for Canada to deal with these tariffs. And so that's why I say that the Canadian government is probably in a panic mode right now. Do you agree with me, my friends? Please write agree if you do. If you don't, just write something else. Do you agree with me, my friends? Fuzz is here. Fuzz, thank you for your continued participation. I know Fuzz doesn't agree with me. That's Aaron. Aaron doesn't agree with me, but thank you, Aaron, for being here. Misty says agree. Ruby says yes. Gina says Tosif. TTT, thank you. TTT means Tosif. So 4 T's means Tosif tells the truth. So thank you so very much. Dana, thank you. Gina, thanks so much. All right. Okay. So we just have to wait and see what happens going forward. We have to wait and see what happens going forward. It's there's a lot going on. That's why the title of this live stream is U.S. Canada Relations, New Tariffs, Growing Tension, and the Possibility of Peace. Yes, there's always possibility of peace. No matter how intense the disagreements are, no matter how intense the conflicts are, no matter how intense a trade war might be or a tariff war might be. I hesitate to say trade war or tariff war, okay? Because a war has a very extreme meaning. These are international trade disputes. These are international tariff-related conflicts and negotiations. But a lot of people say trade war or tariff war. I try not to use those words, okay? But what I'm saying is there's rising tension, especially because of these new tariffs, and Canada is in a panic mode right now. But there's always the possibility of peace. If Canada becomes a part of the US, if Canada becomes an American state, if Canada wants to be a part of the United States of America, then these tariffs will no longer apply. Tariffs are gone because tariffs are only applicable in terms of foreign countries. So I don't know what Canada is going to decide, but Prime Minister Mark Carney is not being wise. Prime Minister Mark Carney doesn't have the right tone, doesn't have the right attitude, doesn't have the right strategy. A conversation with President Trump would have been very helpful for Mark Carney, but that's not happening. And it sounds like Mark Carney is not ready for a conversation. We'll see what happens. My friends, thank you all so very much. Let's see. Let's see the live chat here. All right. Okay, I'm going to end the poll question. For those who have not voted yet, please do so. The question is, do you support President Trump's decision to announce 25% tariffs on automobile imports? Please vote. I'm going to end the poll here. Let's see. The question is, do you support President Trump's decision to announce 25% tariffs on automobile imports? 268 votes, 59% says yes, 40% says no. So overwhelmingly, people support President Trump's decision to announce 25% tariffs on automobile imports. So thank you all for participating in the poll. Now, my friends, I got a question for you. Okay? So listen to this question and let me know in the live chat your response. I am thinking of doing live streams. It's going to be in addition to everything else that I do. I want to do live streams in which I respond to your questions. So this is how it's going to work. I am thinking of asking you to send me questions ahead of time. So I'm going to put a post up on YouTube and I'm going to prompt you to send me questions, whatever the topic may be: transportation, energy, healthcare, international trade, elections, so many different topics. But obviously the focus would be social and political issues, domestic and international. Okay? Which is, I say it's a focus, but it's pretty broad. Okay? So you send me questions ahead of time. You can ask Tausif, what are your thoughts about the U.S. Senate race coming up in 2026? Or what are your thoughts about this new legislation that was introduced in New York, or whatever? Or what do you think of the mayoral race in New York? Or I think we got disconnected there for a little bit, right? I'm back. Okay, something happened. Internet glitch. I'm here. I hope you haven't left. I'm here. So you send me questions ahead of time. Obviously, I answer questions during live stream because I see questions in the live chat. But if you send me questions ahead of time, it allows me to serially answer them in a more organized format. Okay. Now, if I get 50 questions, am I going to be able to answer them all? Probably not. Not in one live stream. It might need to be broken up into different live streams. So there's no guarantee that I'll be able to answer all the questions. And then I may also have to pick and choose. If I get multiple questions on the same topic, of course, I won't answer each and every question. I'll just try to address the topic. And there may be questions that are genuine, and there may be questions that are more like somebody is trying to taunt me or mock me or whatever. Okay. I may get some unfriendly questions. Not in terms of, you can disagree with me and you can say, hey, Tausif, answer this question. Why do you think so? I don't think, you can state your disagreement with my viewpoints and ask me a question. That's fine. But, if somebody just asks me a question to just make fun of me or whatever, I won't answer that. So anyway, I'm going to screen the questions. I'm going to, if I get 50 questions, I'll probably choose 15, 10, 12, 15, whatever, to answer. Of course, it depends on the nature of the question. Some questions may be quick answer, okay? And some questions may require a much longer discussion. But anyway, do you like that idea of me asking for your questions ahead of time and then answering the questions in a live chat? Do you like the idea? Just say, I like the idea. Tommy Brown, good to see you. Kalel is here. Good to see you all. So many people tuning in. Okay. Let me know if you like that idea. Claudia likes it. Marjorie likes it. Thank you so much. Tommy Brown, good to see you. All right. So Selena is here. Hi, Selena. Selena, you're back. Okay. Selena was here earlier since the beginning, Selena. All right. Everyone's giving me thumbs up. Okay. Next is saying I like idea. Great. All right. Wonderful. So that's what I'm going to do, my friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a post. I'll prompt you to send me questions. And then you send me the questions, and then I'll try to answer them in the following live stream. Okay. And obviously that's not going to be the only format for the live streams. I'm going to do live streams like I did one today, like so many hundreds of live streams that I've already done where I pick topics and I discuss. But I do want to do live streams at least, maybe once a week, twice a week, whatever, to answer your questions. Okay. All right, my friends, thank you all so very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for participating in the live chat. My friends, I'm going to conclude this live stream today, but I'll be back with more videos and more live stream. Okay, thank you all so very much. My friends, may God bless you all. May God bless President Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. My friends, so good to see you all. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies. And may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. And I see Crockett said, was listening. Crockett, I was thinking in my mind, where's Crockett? I haven't seen Crockett today. Crockett, thank you for being here. Thank you so very much, my friends. Thank you. Thank you all. Crockett, great to see you. Crockett is our friend from South Carolina. Lovely, lovely state, South Carolina. We love South Carolina. All right. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful night. And I will be back again very, very soon. Have a wonderful night, my friends. And thank you for all your love and support. I'll be back soon. Thanks so much.